Now we haven't went over. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to give you a point on the scoreboard here. Now remember, whenever I say class, class, you respond with yes, yes. So let's try it again. Class, class.
Yes,
yes, yes.
There we go. That's much better. But first, you guys didn't do it the first time I asked. I'm going to have to give myself a point for that. And I know whenever I give myself a point, you guys go, oh, give me a groan on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Oh, now that was a good groan. You guys were all uniform together. Give me an oh yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
Good. Oh, and guess what today, class? Your reward for winning our classroom competition is I'm going to give you an additional whole brain teaching magnet that's also full of just more awesome things for you to use in your own classrooms, especially for those of you who teach I-STEP tested subjects. So that's our reward. That's what we're playing for. Is an extra packet. Oh. Extra packet. All right. All right. Extra packet. I can't spell. There we go. Extra packet. I'm a math teacher, not an English teacher. All right. So you guys know what we're playing for today. Let's go ahead and get started with our presentation. Whole brain teaching. What is this whole brain teaching? Whole brain teaching is a national movement that has been going on since 1999. It was created by 3 men in California. One was a college professor, 2 others were elementary school teachers. And what they realized is that teaching and learning is really boring. Can be really, really boring for kids. And that as teachers, as a lot like Ricky talked about in his presentation, and Maggie touched on it as well, as teachers we do too much teaching. We don't do enough for our kids to actually, we don't do enough to give them the skills necessary to teach themselves. And so what whole brain teaching does is it breaks down, instead of it just being a teacher lecturing, into a student actually engaging in the material and learning by cooperating and learning with others as well. Now there are 3 basic principles to this whole brain teaching. The first one is the organization. You organize your classroom rules. You can't have a classroom that's functioning unless you have a structure in order for that classroom to succeed. Whole brain teaching gives you 5 simple classroom rules to follow that will cover every single thing you can possibly think of that kids could do to make your classroom be unproductive. So it's awesome. We'll get those here in just a second. And there's also the motivator, the scoreboard, which you've been seeing already. Whenever I say class, class, you say
yes,
yes, yes.
So you're already learning. I love it. So whenever I give yourself another point, give me an oh yeah on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah.
So right now you're winning. We got a competition going on. It's a friendly competition between you and me. Now I am in charge of the scoreboard. I'm the only person who gives points on the scoreboard. I use that as a motivator. So if I see unproductiveness going on in my classroom, like let's say Robert is just kind of sitting there, maybe slouching down, looking at something else when I'm presenting, and maybe Courtney's doing something similar, I can be like, oh class! Oh class! I got 2 people not on tap with me. I need 100%. I don't have 100%. So that means you want Mr. Stipes to win today. I thank you so much for letting me win today. For that, give me an aw on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
And so now I can control this. And now by doing that simple thing right there, I already have pinpointed those 2 kids who are not on task without actually saying, Robert, I need to be with me more, and Courtney, I need you on me. I can do something simple like that with a classroom correction that's also pinpointed on individual students. So they're like, oh, I need to get my act together so we can get our prize today, which may be, one less homework problem, or a YouTube video clip at the end of class, or it may just be something silly like Mr. Stipes gets to tell a story that makes him embarrassing, and then you get to laugh at him and then sound lame as you walk out the door. Whatever you want the classroom thing to be. And also, as I'm in control of the classroom scoreboard, I can actually tell you at the end of class what the score is going to be at the end of the game. I can say at the end of today's class, the score is going to be 6-5, and I'm going to win. And guess what? It doesn't matter how good you are. I can find the slightest of things like, Flora, you're not on task with me. You didn't write down everything that I wrote down on the board. Not quick enough, though. I'm sorry, Flora. And I can give a point like that. But the thing is, you don't want to do is you don't want to be individual when it comes to negativeness. So like if I see Lori, if you're off task, I'm not going to say, Lori's off task right now. Sorry guys, we got to give the whole class a point for me because Lori's off task. You don't want to do something like that. You want to make it very generalized. So kids don't know who exactly it is, but that kid knows that they're not on task. And then you can also reward for the smallest of behaviors. So even if you want your kids to win day, you're like, oh, we need to have a winning day. It could be they are absolutely awful, but you can find 4 things, and man, those 4 things, you're going to really harp on those 4 things, and you're not necessarily going to harp on the things that you usually harp on in your classroom. So it's a really great way of motivating kids. It brings a joy factor to the classroom. It also creates some friendly competition between you and your class, which I think is a very big helpful thing. So you can see that demonstrates positive behavior, again, without necessarily reflecting on the negative things that kids do with their behaviors, which I think is a good thing. Now, the 5 classroom rules that you have, and this also goes into the teaching concept of whole brain teaching. So when I say mirror words and gestures, you go, mirror words and gestures. Let's try it right now. Mirror words and gestures.
Mirror words and gestures.
Now, what you are going to do, there you go, Robert, you're on to it. Now, you are going to do.
Now you are going to do
Exactly what I do.
exactly what I do.
And exactly what I say.
Exactly what I say.
That's when I say mirror words and gestures.
That's when I say mirror words.
Gotcha, good. Now, if I say mere gestures, you say mere gestures. But you're not going to say the words that I say, but you are going to make the hand movements that I make. So if you're making hand movements, you need to make the there we go. I got the hand movements going now. I got the hand movements
Come
going.
on, Carrie, stop
Now, here
slapping.
we go. I'm teaching that concept so we can go over the 5 simple rules. I call them the 5 Tinley rules because that's what we do at Tinley. But these are organizing rules that can really be used in any classroom, no matter if it's a school-wide or if it's just in your classroom. So, mirror words and gestures, class.
Mirror words and gestures. Class.
Step number 1.
Step number 1.
I'm sorry. My bad. And this is whenever you go, it's okay, Mr. Stipes.
It's okay, Mr.
Because
Stipes.
from time to time I make mistakes. All right. So let's go again. Rule number 1.
Rule number 1.
Follow directions quickly.
Follow directions quickly.
Rule number 2.
Rule number 2.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
For permission to speak.
Permission to speak.
Rule number 3.
Number 3.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
For permission to leave your desk.
Permission to leave your desk.
Rule number 4.
Rule number 4.
Make smart choices.
Make smart choices.
And rule number 5.
Number
The
5.
most important rule.
The most important rule.
Keep your teacher happy.
Keep your teacher happy.
These 5 rules right here are set up so you can think of any single behavior a kid in your classroom could do that could create distraction, that could create something you don't want, are covered within these 5 rules. And the catch-all is usually the last one. Oh, Courtney, I don't like what you're doing there. You know what? Yeah, you stay in your seat. Yeah, you didn't raise your hand for permission, but you didn't talk, so that's not a violation. But you know what? You're just not making me happy right now. I need you to make me happy, please. Okay, thank you, Courtney, for making me happy. And then you can go on with your lesson. So it's an easy way to, again, highlight positive behaviors and do things in such a way that it doesn't reflect negativeness. I don't ever have to get mean. I mean, I have bad days where I definitely get plenty mean and I definitely have to yell to get them under control. But the whole brain teaching strategy is implemented so you can actually just smile, go on with your day, and be very positive. You don't have to be like an optimistic, lucky-go person or whatever, but it does make a structure in your classroom in a way that where yelling or highlighting negative behaviors is like old school. You shouldn't have to do it anymore. And it's really, really good, especially for kids with emotional disorders, kids with ADHD.